screenshots don't prove love, they expose guilt. Bahati just called out Kenya's biggest celebrities, and what he revealed will shock you. While everyone is posting their last messages with Shalkido, one man was there when it actually mattered. He paid rent, furnished homes,
tutaorganize venye kiti itafika, kitanda, coffee table, bosi amesema tuongeza mpaka coffee table,
and offered real mentorship while others simply watched.
Yes bana.
Hii ni mambo ya ubina.
Hii ni mambo ya ubina.
Manze unafanya kazi safi manze.
Obize mwenyewe.
Obize unamwambia nini?
But that's not the full story. What happened in those final 30 minutes before the crash will leave you speechless. Stay with me, because this goes deeper than anyone imagined. Screenshots don't prove love, they expose guilt.
Vitu za sare saa zingine si poa kutoka kwanza kwa wasanii au wasanii wakubwa. Sasa nataka kukuuliza Jericho Mondi. Sasa kitu enye ulipea mtu ajisaidie nayo, tuseme imemuua. Nataka kukuuliza aje. Sasa tungoje tuone Jericho Mondi amenunua eka ngapi, ama umenunua shamba hapo Karen, ama umenunua Poje.
Bahati just called out Kenya's biggest celebrities, and what he revealed will shock you. While everyone is posting their last messages with Shalkido, one man was there when it actually mattered. He paid rent, furnished homes, and offered real mentorship while others simply watched. But that's not the full story.
Make sure you stay safe, chapa helmet.
Yeah.
Chapa hizo gear, tafuta longi ya leather hii ingie huko chini. Uwe safe bana. Ndio, tunajua pia safety si iko guaranteed sana.
What happened in those final 30 minutes before the crash will leave you speechless. Stay with me, because this goes deeper than anyone imagined.
Thank you so much. Hiyo kani ya wiki sana. Hiyo ni wiki sana. Akiingia chini sana. Kuma hii.
And then, something happened that would ignite a firestorm of controversy across Kenyan social media.
But ingekuwa ameenda, sijui MP wa wapi angetoa sanduku.
Mita mbili zimechangwa chapcha.
Lakini sasa hivi alisurvive hiyo kujinyonga, si wengi wamekuja kusaidia.
The screenshots started flooding in, one after another, after another, after another.
Acha nicheze fiti vizuri. Tupite ni bypass, location ya pedi nasema bypass. Escort agency ni bebe 6 pack, na nikiingia ndani ya kunanga kurivers. Tupite ni bypass, location ya pedi nasema bypass. Escort agency ni bebe 6 pack, na nikiingia ndani ya kunanga kurivers. Yo, mi uguzia nikidema in-laws. Mbona bandia waite shiro. Oi, alichitiwa na vidole. Oi, alimpi.
Celebrities, influencers, musicians, all suddenly scrambling to show their connections to Shalkido. Let's talk about what happened, because this is where things get uncomfortable. This is where the mask slipped. Bahati, one of Kenya's most successful gospel-turned-secular artists, posted screenshots of messages from Shalkido. In those messages, you could see Shalkido reaching out, asking for a collaboration. He wanted to work with either Bahati or his wife, Diana Marua. The message sat there.
Mtu akitaka kufa anajua guys. Kuja hapa akajitambulisha, kama mnakumbuka, alikuwa anauza bag za mkononi za wanawake. Akauza zile bag na tukamchangia pesa akaondoka. Baada ya wiki kadhaa akarudi tena, ameshikilia kisu, kama mnakumbuka. Alishikilia kisu hapa kwa live yangu, yani akanambia anytime soon anajimaliza, kama mnakumbuka. Nikamtoa nikamwambia no, usifanye hivi vitu hapa. Baadaye nikamkuta kwa MC Chris. Nikamkuta kwa MC Chris pale, nikaona amerudi sawa yani. Kidogo alhamdulillah nikamkuta kwa Obina. Yes, kama unakumbuka alisema atajiua hapa kwangu, nikamwambia no, Maisha Mungu anapanga, hakuna haja ya kujitoa uhai. So nilivyomwona kwa Obi na akifanywa interview na baadaye kuchangiwa kanunua pikipiki, nikaona ni jambo zuri yani. So taarifa ambazo zimenifikia jana sikuweza kuingia live kama mnajua. So nikasema taarifa nitawaletea leo na tuendelee kumwombea yani.
Unread in some versions, read but unanswered in others. The timing, just days before his death. Then came Terrence Creative, the celebrated comedian and content creator. More screenshots, more last conversations, more evidence of Shalkido reaching out to the industry he once dominated with Sailor's Gang. Blogger after blogger, influencer after influencer, celebrity after celebrity. Everyone had their screenshots ready. Everyone had their last conversation prepared. Everyone wanted to show they knew him, they cared about him, they were there for him. But here's the question that started burning in people's minds. Where were all these screenshots when Shalkido needed help? Where was all this public support when he was struggling? When he hit rock bottom? When he was crying out for collaborations, for opportunities, for a lifeline? The answer was deafening in its silence. And then, Baba Talisha had enough. The popular TikToker and social commentator who never holds back, who speaks truth even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs him, decided to say what everyone was thinking, but no one dared to voice. His words cut through the performative mourning like a hot knife through butter. But wait, before I show you what Baba Talisha said that has everyone talking, you need to understand something crucial. There was one man who was actually there. One man who didn't need screenshots to prove anything. One man whose actions spoke louder than any post ever could. And what he did for Shalkido will restore your faith in humanity. Stay with me. This gets even more powerful. Baba Talisha didn't mince words. He came with fire, with passion, with righteous anger. His message was simple but devastating. Screenshots don't prove love, they expose guilt. Let that sink in for a moment. Screenshots don't prove love, they expose guilt. He continued, his voice heavy with emotion, his words dripping with accusation. You ignored his messages, now you're using them for clout. Let him rest in peace. Boom! He said what needed to be said. Baba Talisha went further, painting a picture that would make anyone with a conscience uncomfortable. He described these celebrities as people who watched a story unfold. And now that the story has reached its tragic conclusion, now everyone wants to rewrite their role in it. Now everyone wants to look like an angel in a story they watched unfold, he declared. Think about that. Think about the weight of those words. These weren't anonymous people. These were established names. People with platforms, with resources, with the power to change someone's trajectory. And what did they do when Shalkido reached out? They watched. They scrolled past. They left him on red. But in death, oh in death, suddenly everyone's a friend. Suddenly everyone has a story. Suddenly everyone wants to be part of the narrative. Baba Talisha's message resonated because it touched on something deeper, something that goes beyond Shalkido, beyond this one tragedy. It touched on the performative nature of modern celebrity culture, the way we use tragedies for engagement, the way we monetize grief, the way we turn someone's death into content. And the Kenyan public, they weren't having it. They saw through it. They recognized the hypocrisy. Comment sections erupted. It's funny that everyone is posting him when dead, claiming to be his friend, one user wrote. When he was alive, asking for help, I didn't see anyone posting him. The truth hurts, doesn't it? But here's where the story takes a turn. Here's where we see the stark contrast between performative grief and genuine love. Here's where one man's actions shine like a beacon in the darkness. Oga Obina, while others were drafting their perfect condolence posts, while others were searching through their DMs for that one screenshot that would make them look good, Oga Obina had nothing to prove. Why? Because his actions had already spoken. Let me tell you what Oga Obina actually did for Shalkido, and I want you to compare this to a screenshot of an unanswered message. First, when Shalkido hit rock bottom, when the Genjitone wave that had lifted Sailor's Gang to stardom crashed and left him struggling, Obina didn't just offer words, he offered shelter. He paid Shalkido's rent, not once but consistently, making sure this talented artist had a roof over his head. But he didn't stop there. He furnished Shalkido's home. Think about that. While others were ignoring DMs, Obinna was making sure Shalkido had a bed to sleep in, furniture to sit on, a space that felt like home. He brought Shalkido into his circle. He offered mentorship, real mentorship. Not the kind where you meet for coffee once and post about it, the kind where you invest time, energy, wisdom into someone's life and career. And here's the thing that makes this even more powerful. Obinna gave Shalkido opportunities. Real opportunities to perform, to earn, to rebuild his career. That performance in Thika, the one that would tragically be Shalkido's last, that was with Obinna. In fact, and this detail is absolutely crucial, Shalkido was with Oga Obinna roughly 30 minutes before the accident. They had just finished performing together. The video from the petrol station in Ruiru shows them laughing, enjoying each other's company. Obinna had treated him like a brother, like family, not like a charity case or a photo opportunity. When the accident happened, who was the first person to share updates? Obinna, who stayed at the hospital, navigating the bureaucratic nightmare of the Kenyan healthcare system. Obinna. Who kept Shalkido's fans informed? Who stood with the family? Obinna. And here's what Obinna said after Shalkido's death, and I want you to listen carefully because these words carry weight. I have no regrets about my interaction with Shalkido. We were trying to do something together. No regrets, no guilt, no need for screenshots. Because when you actually show up for people in life, you don't need to prove anything in death. Baba Talisha highlighted this, making sure people understood the difference. Oga Obinna was there while he lived. He paid his rent, furnished his home, and mentored Shalkido with love. Real love. Not screenshot love, not Instagram story love. Not, let me post this to show I'm a good person, love. But actual, tangible, life-changing love. And you know what's beautiful about this? Obinna never bragged about it. He never made a big show of his generosity. He didn't post every time he paid rent or bought furniture. He just did it because that's what you do when you genuinely care about someone. That's the standard. That's what real support looks like. But this story isn't just about screenshots and social media. It's about something much deeper. It's about how we treat artists, especially in the African entertainment industry. Shalkido's story is a familiar one, and that's the tragedy of it. He rose to fame as part of Sailor's Gang, a Genjatone group that dominated the Kenyan music scene. They had hits, they had fans. They had the world at their feet, and then, as quickly as it started, it ended. The group split, the wave crashed, and these young artists who had tasted success but never really learned how to sustain it found themselves struggling. This is the reality for so many African artists. The industry chews them up and spits them out. One day you're on top, the next day you're begging for collaborations that go unanswered. One day you're performing for thousands, the next day you can't pay rent. And when you're down, when you're struggling, where are all the people who benefited from your rise? Where are the promoters who made money off your concerts? Where are the fellow artists who rose alongside you? Where are the media personalities who interviewed you when you were hot? They're gone. They've moved on to the next wave, the next trend, the next hot thing. Until you die. And then suddenly, everyone remembers. Everyone cares. Everyone has something to say. Shalkido reached out. He tried. He sent those messages to Bahati, to others. He was actively trying to rebuild, to pivot, to find his footing in an industry that had moved on without him. But the responses? Silence. Or worse, seen and ignored. And this is why Oga Obinna's support matters so much, because he broke that pattern. He saw an artist struggling and said, "I'm not just going to watch. I'm going to help." He didn't wait for a tragedy to show he cared. He showed it when it counted. The entertainment industry needs more Obinnas and fewer screenshot posters. We need more people who pay rent and fewer people who post tributes. We need more mentorship and fewer missed opportunities. Because here's the truth. Shalkido might still be alive if more people had shown up for him in life. If those collaborations had happened, if those opportunities had been given, if that support had been real instead of performative. We can't know for sure, of course. The accident might have happened anyway, But what we do know is that Shalkido spent his final days hustling, reaching out, trying to rebuild, and largely he was doing it alone, except for Obina. And now he's gone. And we're left with screenshots and what-ifs and a TikToker calling out the whole industry for its hypocrisy. So what do we do with this? What do we learn from Shalkido's tragic death and the controversy that followed? First, we check ourselves. Before you post that tribute, before you share that screenshot, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is this genuine grief, or is this performance? Did I show up for this person in life, or am I just trying to look good in death? Second, we demand better. We demand an industry that supports artists throughout their careers, not just when they're hot. We demand systems that catch people when they fall, not audiences that only pay attention when they die. Third, we celebrate the Obinas, the people who show up, the people who pay rent and furnish homes and offer mentorship without expecting applause, the people whose actions speak louder than their posts. And finally, we remember Shalkido, not as a cautionary tale, not as a trending topic, not as a screenshot, but as a talented artist, a young man with dreams, someone who deserved better from an industry he gave so much to. Rest in peace, Kevin Mburu Kinyanjui. Rest in peace, Shalkido. Your legacy isn't in the screenshots, it's in the music you made, the joy you brought, and the lessons your life and death are teaching us. If this video moved you, if Baba Talisha's message resonated with you, if you believe we need to do better, hit that like button, share this video, and let's keep this conversation going in the comments. And remember, show up for people while they're alive, because screenshots don't prove love, they expose guilt. I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed, stay real, and most importantly, stay present for the people who matter.